Yo, so if you guys watched last week's episode, you know that Jay came by and we made some progress on everything behind me. Obviously, the Ford was last week's episode. What do you guys think we're working on in this episode? What kind of progress do you think we made? Only one way to find out, guys. Stick around and check out this episode of Pugliese Speed Shop. Well, guys, if you get subtlety, which is something the kid never, ever got the concept of, we're working on the OBS. My 1994 C1500 short bed single cab pickup. Guys, the more I look at this thing, the more I drive it, the more I touch it, I just fall more and more in love with this thing. It's funny because like growing up, this was everybody's father had one of these, except for mine. My dad had a Toyota. Huh. So do I. So I guess that makes sense. Anyways, this is what everybody, it was no big deal. It was just a truck, especially this one. 4.3, roll-up windows, no AC. Nobody cared. But something about it, guys. I don't know if it's because of how I got it, the shape it was in when I got it, the progress we've been able to make, the color, I don't know what it is. It's just all perfect. I'm digging it. But the more we drive it around, the more we realize we might have missed a couple things. All right. So, not like on purpose, like we're just being a hack, but this thing sat. I'll get there, for a long time, all right? I don't know exactly how long. As you guys know, Nick bought it. He did some work to it, got it running and driving again, and we picked it up from there and took it the rest of the way because I think it was running the whole time, but yeah, the transmission tail shaft was not in good shape, and neither was the rockers or the cab corners or the brakes or some other. So he did a bunch of stuff and, passed the savings on to us, as they say. And, we picked it up and ran with it. And I think we nailed it, guys, because, come on, right? But there's some things you can't see, right? Like the fact that I really can't drive to work in the morning because it's starting to get a little cold. Now, I know before my excuse was it was too hot and didn't have air conditioning. Well, the problem now is getting a little cold and the defroster doesn't work and it kind of fogs up. And that's bad at 5 o'clock in the morning when you're heading to work. So we got to do something there. The throttle cable is not doing what it's supposed to. It's very stiff. Like it's all or nothing. All right. Now, shouldn't be a big deal with the V6, but spinning tires more than I'd like to. And when you do that in a 4.3, it just kind of comes off like you're a jerk off, because what are you going to do? And what else we got going on here? We got a check engine code. It's for an O2 sensor. I will show you guys again how to check that because it's super easy. Make sure as we're driving, we haven't got anything else. There might be something else that went wrong, which is unlikely since we just did the tune-up and all that. It's running better than it ever has, and I think we're going to get a step closer. In all transparency, when Jay was here, he already figured out the defrost problem. And we still got it open. I want to show you guys what it is because With this thing being the work truck, guys, a lot of stuff is, you see the white trash. Wow, white trash. All right. The camera is backwards. But things are different than every other video on here. It's happened to me, if you remember, way back when I had the steering column all taken apart. It was not great because it seems every one of these is a tilt column. This one's not, which I'm happy because they had some problems back then. But it also caused me some despair, right? And the same is going here for the defroster and like the mode door, because every time you look anything up on this truck, it tells you this mode door actuator solenoid or something is bad. This doesn't have it. It's all cables. So we'll jump under the dash. I'll show you what's up. And yeah, 5-minute intro. Shut up, Chaz. Man. All right, guys, we're in the truck and super simple dash. This is one of the things I really love about this truck is it's not all fancy stuff, right? I mean, the same stuff they had in the 70s. You know, you had your fan, you know, like right here, off, medium, high, high. And then you had plus and minus, right? It's like, this is supposed to be cold, this is supposed to be warm. They're all the same because there's no air conditioning. It's pretty much just outside air. I think it might get a little bit warmer as you do this, but there's no colors, if you notice. So, we'll figure that as we go. And then you got in your face.
No! In the face! In the face! No!
Down the bottom and the defrost. Right? So that's what we're working with. Very, 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 very simple. Kind of like the steering. You know, no doodads, no tilt, no nothing. Even the ones I have tilt in, it's right here on all of them. So let me get on the dash and I'll show you like what happens when you move these things, because that's where the problem was. All right, so this right here is the where everything comes out of, right? So if we had it on the floor, you see it moving in there? So it's closed, and then it'll be like open like that. That's to the floor, and that's your defrost. It wasn't doing that. It was doing this. So if we had it, that one is in the face. Yeah. And then come here to the floor, and then it would go to like here. Maybe like here. Because you see all the moving parts on the side here? They were kind of jammed up. And all Jay had to do was take a screwdriver and just move it a little bit, right? And move it around. Just kind of put up like that. And that fixed the problem, guys. That's a free fix. I'll take that any day. Speaking of all the simplicity in this truck, how many guys remember these things, right? These little vents. You go ahead and close this guy. Right? And you open. Now it's like air conditioning on your feet. You got the passenger side one over here. The same thing. I keep them open all summer. Probably close them all winter. But it actually does circulate air down there pretty good. It's kind of funny. It's the simplest thing, guys. And it just works. Yeah, guys. So if you're driving something like this, which I definitely recommend, back in the 90s, you know, this right here was the truck, right? This was the most technologically advanced. It was fuel injected, so you were like, wow, right? But this was before the days of cabin air filters, all right? We're out here just raw dogging air. It was crazy times, right? That being said, this is the diffuser that goes like up under the dash like this. There's 2 clips and a screw that hold it in, and that's that. And it deflects when you put it down to the heat, all there. I scrubbed, this all came out of there, man. It's actually kind of like muddy. So it's very clean now. But this is a good time, and probably like a periodic thing you should do. Keep your stuff clean. It keeps the inside of the truck smelling good, looking good. And, you know, guys nowadays, they're not as tough as we were in the 90s. So The lungs can't take all. You gotta keep it clean. So that's what I'm saying. There you go, guys. Everything is clean. Everything is put back together nice. And yeah, we're calling this job done. All right, guys. Speaking of done, I'm done for the night. It's about 12:30, a little after midnight, and about half past midnight. Nobody says that anymore. But yeah, I'm feeling a little tired, and that's why I'm talking about half past things. But we'll be back down here in the morning, and before we go, we're gonna little Croyle on that O2 sensor, because I can definitely foresee a problem with that. And yeah, we'll knock out the last couple of things. Should have all the little issues taken care of. I'm hoping tomorrow maybe I should shut up and just go to bed. That's what I'm going to do. All right, guys, next morning, and back down the shop. I didn't exactly do what I said I was going to do. So I went to go spray some Croyle on that thing. And then I realized I can't reach it unless I jack this thing up because it's lowered and stuff. So we didn't do it. I said, you know what? I'm going to bed. I'll mess with it in the morning. So we jacked the truck up. We sprayed some Croyle. It's been about, 45 minutes or so. We'll see how this works. In the meantime, came in from behind the transmission, and that's the only way you can really reach the clip. So I'm going to try and show you guys that. But it's very tight quarters under there. So maybe if I had a lift. All right, guys. Underneath the truck, here's the O2 sensor right here. You can see where the Croyle was sprayed. And the wire goes up on top of the transmission there and connects up there. It is... I tried everything to get my hand in over here. You ain't doing it. And don't worry, that ain't the floor that's rusted. That's a little heat shield around the catalytic converter. So, see, here's the trans fan, trans cross member. I will slide back there and show you how you can actually reach it. All right, guys. You see this guy right here. All right, that is where it plugs into. You see that green guy right down there? Maybe a little circle or something. Plugs in here. You can reach into it. If I actually go straight on, my arm will be in the way. You won't be able to see any of that stuff. So if you have a four-wheel drive, you can reach it the other way. For some reason, guys, this two-wheel drive transmission, the cross member, everything is just completely in the way and makes all this harder. If you remember, that was a problem through the trans fan. But there's always more than one way to skin a cat. All right, where are my tools? All right. Guys, I don't know why people are skinning cats. It's a terrible thing. I'll never say that again. All right, let's see if the Croyle did its job. I don't have glasses. You already know crap's going to fall, so let's try and be a little prepared. 22 millimetric. No way. What? That Croyle is good stuff, guys. I'm going to tell you what. Hey, I think I found the problem with the O2 sensor. Freaking wires are hanging off. So there's that. Let me take the old watch off here. Doesn't matter what time it is. You know what time it is. It's time it is. See, this is maybe don't fire the gun while you're talking. Dope. There we go. What do you think, guys? Do we know why it failed? I think, I'm not sure, but I think this pink wire is supposed to be like in there. I mean, that'll work. Let's go ahead. Well, we plugged it. Let's put it in. No. We got a brand spanking new one, guys. I put it just out of reach. I got a bunch of tools in case that wrench didn't work. Now that I'm looking at it, those other stuff will work either. Brand new one. Let's make sure. Oh yeah, look at that.
all three of them are connected. So that's pretty dope. The one I bought already has some NICs in there, so we're just gonna put it in. Where's that wrench? Do not want this thing getting torn up from the floor up. Keep this from getting jacked up. All right, there's a crush washer on here. You want to just seat that, you know, crush it, if you will. That's why it's got that name. And you're going to call that good. No need to ram it home and put 400 foot-pounds of torque on it, because this was like 30 bucks on Amazon. I don't know how long it's going to last, so we want to be able to get it out when this one fails. And that's how you got to think about all parts nowadays, guys. I'm telling you right now, that's just how it goes. All right, we'll slide back here, plug it in, and be done. All right, guys, she's all connected. We'll push it behind there so there's not tension on it, and we'll call that installed. Never fails, guys. I have this big, beautiful shop with all this room and everything else, and here I am sitting on the floor, and I'll show you what's up. This thing has clearly been on there for a while. This might have been factory, I'm not even sure. But here's the issue. Well, one of them. I mean, obviously, she's got some soot on her, you know, 158, 1,000 miles. And this guy just sheared off. You see where it plugs in right there. And, well, don't do that no more. No big deal. I think it was like 40 bucks for a new one. Here's the tools that I had set aside, guys. I was trying to be as prepared as possible. I even have an O2 sensor socket, guys. I bet nobody would have bet that I had this. Can I bet on what somebody else would bet? Sure. This works out like this. If you're trying to, you know, this is really easy to do with one hand, guys, I promise you. Yep. See that? And it'll get in there so you can have your cake and eat it too. Why would you want cake and like you'd have it but can't eat it? That's another stupid saying. We gotta stop with these. All right, well, that's what it does, and it works out great until, well, it's as tight as you saw on this thing. This guy wasn't getting in here, let alone a ratchet. So, 22 millimetric wrench for the win. I used that guy to actually see where this guy was, and that's how I figured out how to get it. So, a little bit of exploration, and made for an easy job. Guys, it's pretty nice, you know, the more you come over the workbench to grab parts, and the stack keeps getting smaller and smaller. But I think we might have an issue with this guy. All right, guys, we're back under the truck, and there's the fuel filter. Pretty simple, right? Now, judging by the amount of hose clamps on there, I'm leaning towards that is not the stock configuration. But who cares, like, as long as it works, right? So this is the fuel filter that is supposed to be there. If you notice, it's got threads on both sides. Same size-ish, but yeah, it ain't gonna work. So looks like we gotta either modify the truck to get back to the original, or just go ahead and find one of those. I think we're gonna go for option B. Guys, I'm not mad about this. As you can tell from this box, it's kind of been around for a while. This was actually in the back of the Suburban when I got it on the trade. And I was going to do it on the Suburban, and guess this guy wouldn't fit there either because it had the same thing going on that's on this truck. I'm thinking
that as these trucks get older, they rust, the lines get rusty. You go to spin that off, you break the B-nut. It's just easier to put one of those on. I ain't mad about it. I'll just find a universal one or whatever and take care of it. Not a big deal. All right, guys, that leaves us just one more thing to take care of during this episode, and that is the throttle cable. I told you guys before, it's like all or nothing, right? It's everything here moves as it should. Got some on there. So they're kind of known for the cables getting bound up, and I don't know, because it kind of goes, maybe it has to do with the routing, or is the fact just 31 years old? Who knows? All I know is should be pretty simple. Oh, I should never said that. So, pops off right here. It clips in there. Goes around, goes through the firewall right there, and then clips on the back of the gas pedal. So, that's what that looks like. Let's go check out the one in the box and make sure that Napa hooked us up with the right part. I mean, they always do. Right. Go. Go. Get off. Let go. Let go. All right, there we go. We're good. And there we go. If you notice this guy, look at this. That's probably the problem. Probably inside there it's kind of nasty, 30-something years of grime. So it's super smooth. Hopefully it does the same thing on the truck. Well, she took a little doing, but we got her out. And comparing the two, obviously they look exactly the same, right? They actually are. I put them side by side. This one over the years got some new curves to her. Happens to the best of us, guys. So it did not want to come out. You can see this is cut up because I had to get a little upset and start yanking and cutting and stuff. This is supposed to be like way back here. And kind of pushes through the firewall. If you look at this one, you can see how it goes. 30-something years, it didn't want to come back out. So we got to get a little aggressive. It should not have taken this many tools. And actually it didn't. It kind of just took this guy. And eventually I got mad. And this guy. I'll break out the new stuff. And the bad part was this is under the dash, right? So a lot of room under there, as you guys probably saw earlier in the video. Let's just hope this guy goes together a lot better than that guy came out. Let me promise you guys right now, words have not been invented yet to just communicate how frustrated I am right now. This is the simplest thing, and this is how it always happens, guys. Working on whatever you're working on, the simplest thing, and it's usually because you get shit parts. And let me show you what I'm working with, because guys, this is ridiculous. It's literally hours later. I stopped, went up to the house at 8 and came back down. Figured it'll just fall in. And because I was so frustrated taking the other one out, because that shouldn't have been that way. But that was like, okay, I understand why this plastic sucked. The placement here isn't the best, guys, I'll be honest with you. So this hole right here is where it's going to go through. And yeah, you could get a better angle, so maybe you could get a little bit of leverage on it. But you got the brake booster in the way. I pulled the hose off that went in there and gained a little more access, but guys, it's a plastic clip. You shouldn't need leverage. So let me show you what I'm working with over here. Yeah, I got a file kit out because the clips here, they're not going in far enough to seat. Okay? Like this, yeah, they will, right? But you got to have this gasket on here because I would like it to not get water in there and stuff like that. Yes, I can put it together and not care about it, but I'd like it done the right way. And now I've worked with this so long, I might as well just get it done. This one just fell right together, so that was pretty dope. Everything over here was great, the same as coming out.
This went in no problem. This thing right here, and I think I might have found the problem, guys. So here we go. Napa usually has quality stuff. Where's it made? Yeah. They should stick to cocaine because they don't know how to make parts. All right, guys. It's been a couple days, and I've since calmed down and, got my thoughts together, made some educated, intelligent decisions, and, well, I guess that's where it ends. Now we find out if any of that works, right? I realized trying to modify that cable went terribly awry. Maybe I should have tried something different. We're going to find out here in a minute, but we got a new one in. And it only cost me $12, so it's not the end of the world. Now, you lose a little bit of time, but we know what happens when we get in a rush, right? I absolutely love this truck, so let's slow it down. Can we go any slower? Figured I'd say it before Kevin does. But, yeah, slow it down, do it once, do it right, all the things we're supposed to say. Let's see if it works. All right, guys, this is what I would consider the timeline of throttle cables so far. This is what Chevrolet put in 1994. Worked well for many years. This is what I got from Napa, which is actually a product of Pioneer Automotive Industries. So there's a timeline, guys. Clearly, this one worked, and, well, we'll talk about some of the differences between these three after we see if this guy works. So, wish me luck, guys. All right. So, I tried to just throw it right in there, straight out the box, because, guys, this is such an easy job. It should just work. But it don't fit with the gasket. So, either the gasket's too thick or something's wrong with the clip area. I ain't messing with that again, I'll tell you that. So I took the gasket off and got her in there. And it ain't coming out, but man, it moves around a lot. Let me zoom you in and show you what we're working with here. It shouldn't move around like this, right? It should be tight. It's not, so let me try something else. All right, I'm going to go over all this little stuff here so you can kind of see where my brain's at. This gasket here is what I peeled off the firewall from the original stuff. Rather thin, but like I said, almost just looks like some sealant that was gooed in there, but it's a little more than that. This here is what comes when you buy the replacement one. See, it's got like a little ridge in here. Can you see that? Let me see. Yeah, you can see that, right? Well, what I did with this guy, because I have extra parts now that I've been buying all these things. This is, you can see it on there where I just carved off that ending, right? She's now pretty thin. Here's the pieces I got off. This is the tool that we use. I mean, very professional setup we got here. So, I've got the other one pulled out. Let's install this and see if this works. All right, guys. As you can probably see, it's the next day. Why do you think that is? I'll tell you. My idea didn't work. I got pretty pissed off. But I did the right thing, put it all down, walked away. I mean, we had the pizza dude coming.
Oh, no way! Hey, wait, you guys can't go now. It's the best part. I called the pizza dude. All right. All right. Pizza dude.
So that helped me feel better. And I reached out for help, right? I hit up old Wade and Kevin, both of which had fantastic ideas. And then old Wade came over this morning, and guys, we got it done. First, I'm going to show you why my idea failed, and then I'll tell you what worked. And I'll tell you about another idea that may have worked. Actually, definitely would have. I just didn't need to do it. So here we go. All right, so back to my very professional modification area. Here's the original one. Here's a modified one. Maybe you see what went wrong right there. Yep, that's the problem. And the new one is actually installed on the truck, so no longer there. But this is how it looked. We can just put it in there. Sure. This is everything I shaved off of that guy before I finally went a little bit too deep and cut it. So then it was pretty useless. However, I tried it 2 or 3 times before that happened. It did not work. So that was a trial and error thing. What worked was old Wade's idea. He come over. I was underneath the truck. Here, there you see the brand new shiny cable. You see where it's clipped in back there with the full-size gasket on there. I pushed from here, and he got inside the truck. And let me get inside there, and I'll show you what he ended up being the win for him. All right, guys. There you see where it comes through the firewall. You see that little tab popped out. Well, you might see little marks there. That was from me prying with some of those pliers. That didn't work. But old Wade, let's see if we can focus a little better. There you go. He pulled through as I was pushing and got a screwdriver behind that tab, clipped one out. Then there's another one on the other side that I don't think you can see. Either way, it's in there. It ain't going nowhere and works as it should. It's a little blurry. There we go. Now we're back in there. And yep, that's what it looks like. That's how it goes. And man, it shouldn't be that hard, but it definitely was. All right, so that was my idea, and then what actually worked. Now, Kevin's idea, I think would have worked just as well, especially if it was just me in the shop, because I could install it without the gasket. So he said, why don't you just put it in and then take a shim, like a fender shim, or maybe, cut a washer or whatever, and then slide that in there to make it tight. You can seal it up with some silicone of some sort. And guys, I think that would have worked just as well. So it didn't come to that. I'd rather not modify stuff if I don't have to. But that's an idea out there if you're by yourself or whatever. This doesn't seem to work for you. Give that a shot. We are calling this guy right here done. And we took care of 3, I wouldn't say big jobs, I wouldn't say small jobs, but guys, it never fails, right? I expected that O2 sensor to be the biggest pain in the ass ever. And you saw it just fell out in. I mean, it was pretty remarkable. So I thought the defroster there, I thought that was going to be more of a pain. It's kind of, I did it in that order thinking that this was going to just fall together. I thought the 2 jobs before this were going to be a pain, and I wanted to end on a high note, which we did, guys. We got it fixed. I'm happy. The truck is happy. And, well, got to hang out with old Wade for a little bit. He made it out of here before we could get him on camera, but, most efficient man in the world, he had things to do. So we got that all done, and, well, now we can go ahead and cruise this guy around, enjoy everything about it now, defrost the windows, which that was the main reason I wasn't driving her. And, well, are we looking at it daily? We do got some other things I want to do on it, mainly just cosmetic stuff, a couple of the parts we picked up. But, guys, that's for another episode. So, you know what they say, right? If you want to have the coolest thing in the parking lot, you better be ready to put in some work. And sometimes that work is knowing your limits, walking away when you're frustrated, and asking your friend for some help. Thanks for watching, guys. Well, there you have it, guys. This gas pedal is super smooth. The transition's awesome. We got no lights on the dash, and well, we haven't needed a defroster, but I know she'll work if we have to. So, super happy, and big shout out to old Wade for coming to the rescue once again.